Alright, welcome back to RecNation. In this episode we're going to put horns, blinkers, and flashers in the CF Moto Uforce 600. The 600 Uforce comes pre-wired for all that. So it's going to be kind of an easy install. We'll go through the steps of how to do it and we'll test it out. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start with installing the horn. We'll have to get the hood open. There's two latches on each side. You just pull down and pull out on the hood a little bit. This gets a little tricky because it wants to catch, so you do one side, then you do the other. Here's the hood latch. You just pull down, lift out, pull out a little bit, and lift it up. Then I can go around the other side. Once you have both sides done, again, you pull out and lift up, and the hood flips open just like this. So here we are on the passenger side of the Uforce. And right here you'll see there is actually a little tab that sticks out with a hole for a bolt right below it. And just underneath it there's two loose wires. And this is actually where you're going to mount the horn. Okay, so in the horn kit, here it is. This is the official CF Moto kit. Part number is 6060 150600. It comes with the horn itself. Looks like this. And it comes with an install kit, a hardware kit. It's got a bolt and a zip tie. So the first step you got to do is the wires are held down here pretty tight. You can see up close, this is where the bolt goes in, and here's the wires. There's a zip tie that holds them in place right here, and it won't allow the wires to get high enough to plug into the horn. So we have to cut this zip tie right here with a pair of cutters. So when you do that, you want to be careful not to cut the wires itself, or there's actually an overflow for the radiator right there. You don't want to cut that either. Next we'll take the horn. This is a 13 millimeter bolt. And we'll slide that in there and get the bolt started. Alright, it is a little tricky getting the bolt started. The best way is to let the horn just kind of hang down. Then you can get the bolt started in there and get it tightened up. Unfortunately, since it's so close, you won't be able to get a socket in there, so you'll have to use a wrench to tighten it up here. And before you tighten it all the way, you want to make sure the horn is lined up correctly. This tab holds the horn sticking out so it don't fall down. Once you have the bolt tight, it's a matter of plugging in the two wires. You can see one wire is shorter than the other wire. That goes on the first terminal. And the longer one goes on the second terminal. And then the horn is wired up. The next step is to take the supplied zip tie, and you're going to zip tie the wires and the overflow tube back to the frame. And then take your cutters and cut it off short. Now we're done here under the hood. We're going to go inside and mount the switch for the horn. Okay, so here we got the horn switch. It's part number 169-040-6001. And the way we're going to install this is we're going to take this section out here. It's got blanks for the switches. So you just pull gently until it pops both sides. And when that's done, same on the top. Until they pull out. Alright, then you decide which one of these you want your horn in. We'll go in this one here. On the back side there's two squeeze tabs. On the back side right here, there are two tabs you squeeze together, and this will pop out the front. Okay, so the blank is out. Now we can put our switch in. That just gets popped in from the front side. Just like that. And then down in here, you gotta find your wire harness. So if we shine the light in there, you can see down in there are the auxiliary plugins, and they are zip tied in the dash. Alright, so actually, as you can see, there's actually a clip right here. I was able to get my hand in there and just pull them free from that clip. I've been having a hard time finding the one that plugs in for the horn. I found the horn plug-in down in that hole right there. Okay, so the wires here, they have different symbols on them. I don't read Japanese, so I can't tell what they are. But I'll show you what that one looks like. There you go. Now you can see that's what the symbol for the horn plug-in looks like. So now we got the horn plug-in dug out. Plug that in. Alright, we can give the horn a try. Works good. Okay, so next we're going to put the flasher in. Up here in the middle, you can see there's a little plastic piece that sticks up right there. That's where the flasher is going to slide on. And the wire for the flasher is actually hidden down underneath here, so you can pull that up and plug it in. Alright, here is the flasher. It says part number is 5ASV 15003406000. And you can see on the back side it's just got a little rubber piece right here. That's what slides over the plastic, and your plug goes in that end. And that's how it looks with the flasher installed. Again, it just slides over right there. Now we can go inside and do the similar thing. We'll left the dash off. We can take out a blank and put in the blinker switch. So again, same process. You just pinch these two tabs, force the blank out the front. Here is the turn signal switch, part number 16906060001. I'll put all the part numbers in the description so you guys have that. Again, it pops in from the front side. Just push till it clips in. Then you can hook up the wire for your blinkers. There you go. You can see there's like a little box with a bigger box on the outside of the point sticking off of it. That is the one that I put into the blinker switch. And if I push up, you can see that's left turn on the dash. Left turn is blinking. And you can see on the front that the left blinker is blinking. So now if I go back to the switch, push down, that'll be right turn. You can see the right turn is blinking, and we'll have to show you from the front. Alright, so there you go, left turn signals on, and there you are, right turn signals on. Unfortunately on the Uforce they do not have the tail lights pre-wired for blinkers or hazards, so we're gonna have to do something a little different for that. I have the bed opener so you can kind of see a little better. One option is they have these two jumper wires in here. If you buy the whole kit, it says to unplug the one jumper, plug it into the other one. I'll show you what that does here. You can see what that does here. If you change the jumper wire, it uses the reverse light as a blinker. In this case, it's a white light. Some states require amber or red, so this wouldn't fit that. What you could do if you wanted to is get some amber tape and put over that, then it would work. Of course, you wouldn't have any backup lights. I'll show you on this one. You wouldn't have any reverse lights here. What you could do is then the wire we just unplugged, you could wire in a different set of lights, LEDs or whatever, mount them here for backup lights, and again cover this with amber tape. We're not going to do that. We're going to actually use the stop and turn as a blinker, so we still have our reverse lights that are stock. That's going to require a little different wiring, and we'll get started on that. So now we're on the driver's side. It would be the same here. You got your two wires. The yellow one here, the yellow one here is actually the reverse light. Orange would be your blinker. You'd unplug this and plug this into here, and that would give you your left turn signal. But again, we're going to do something different so that we can keep our stock reverse lights. Okay, so we're standing behind the Uforce now. This is how we're going to make the tail lights work with the turn signals in the tail light. This is from Curt. It's a 56175 part number, and it's a 3-wire to 2-wire converter. And what that means is it's going to take the tail light, the brake light, and the turn signal and combine them into the same one so that the brake light and the tail light are running on the same wire. And that's what we need to do here. Alright, so what we're going to do next is I unplug the tail light, and we're going to test those wires to see which one is the tail light, the brake light. We already know that the orange is the turn signal and the yellow is the reverse. And to do that, I have my trusty sidekick, Rianne. She is going to run the controls for me as I ask her to do various tests to find which ones are which ones. Alright, so what I have here, this is called a tester light. And the way it works is you got a ground on one side and a light on the other. So if you get a current to go through, the light bulb in here will light up and it'll let you know which ones are which ones. To start off with, for a ground, we're just going to clip it somewhere on the frame. We know that's got a good ground. And we're going to try to find the tail light first. So Rianne, go ahead and turn the key on and turn the lights on. Nope, switch next to me. Okay, so the lights are on. We have it on ground. Again, we know that the yellow is the reverse light. So we'll start testing the other ones to see. All right, there we go. That lights up, so now I know that this is the brown wire is the tail light. All right, turn the lights off. Turn off. It goes off, so we definitely know that is the tail light. Next thing we'll do is push the brake pedal, Rianne. We're going to try to find the brake light. So there's a green, a yellow, or there's a green and yellow left. We're going to try one. That lights up, let the brake off. And so that one is the brake light. So now we know green is probably the ground. We'll test that. Let's see, push the brake in. So if I hold that there, this will be a little tricky, but I touch this end on there. Yep. So now I'm on the green and the brown, and it comes up. Turn the lights off. So that confirms that we know what all 4 wires are going into this harness here. Green is ground, green and yellow is brake light, brown is tail light, yellow is reversed. So we're going to follow this one all the way back. It runs into the junction here. This is the line coming from the other tail light. It runs up into this harness. I cut this zip tie already. There's a plug-in right here. We're going to fold this back. And sure enough, there's all our wires. We know orange, looking here, is the left turn. Blue is the right turn. Yellow is reverse lights. Brown here, that's going to be tail light. Green is ground. There's your brake light. So we have all of our lights in there. We'll keep following this ahead. Next thing I'll do is I'll take this panel off so we can mount that Curt adapter behind this panel here so it doesn't get splashed with water. So in the Curt kit, what you get is the adapter itself. You got an instruction manual, troubleshooting guide, and they give you an installation kit. It's got these Scotch locks. We're not going to use those. It gives you a self-tapping screw to hook the ground wire up. We're not going to use that. It gives you a couple zip ties and some double-sided tape that we'll use to mount it. And we found a good spot on the frame right here. Up here there's a bunch of stuff that wouldn't let it sit. I'll show you where that is. And this will fit perfectly right in there. And then this is here is where we're going to make our junction into the wires on the vehicle. Here you can see on the inside frame rail, there's a couple different things here. Here's a nice spot that's open and flat, and this will mount in there nicely. Okay, we're going to start by snipping the zip tie. It'll give us a little more space to work. So that's still in the frame. We can slip a zip tie through there and zip tie these back up. I just want to give myself a little more room to work with this right here. Next thing I'm going to do is, this is actually taped over, so we're going to very carefully try to find that seam. You can feel it with your fingers. There it is right there. And we're going to try to cut the tape back. And there are all the wires that we're going to be working with. So we got those pulled out. And again, I'm going to attempt to make the joints behind this plastic right here. So we should have enough space there now. We're going to figure out about how much wire we need. This will mount in here. We're going to want to cut that off somewhere in here. So we got all our wires separated. We'll do the same on this side. Figure out about what we're going to need. About that much. We'll go through and strip the ends of all of them. Then I have black tape. I'm going to tape these all together. Just leave the end a little loose so it makes a nice loom. So now we can start splicing the wires together. So we're going to start on the top. It says right turn. And we knew that the light blue was the right turn signal. So we'll cut that one. And strip it. Okay. And then we just got to follow those directions on here: right turn, stop, left turn, tail, and ground. I have these heat shrink tubes. Slide this over the end. And we'll slide our heat shrink. I'll take the heat gun and melt it down. And the way these work, there's actually a little piece of solder in the middle that when you heat it up, that solder melts and crimps them together. Then it forms a watertight seal so water can't get in there. First one's done. We'll keep working our way down. The next one's the stoplight, which on here is the green and yellow. So I have the green and yellow here. We'll cut that, get that hooked up. Then we'll go into the left turn, tail light, and ground finally. We'll go through and get these all hooked up, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we have all the wires hooked up per the diagram. We're going to go ahead and test out on this end to make sure everything is wired correctly. I have the clamp on the ground, which if you look here, white is ground, brown is tail, left turn is yellow, right turn is green. So I got my wonderful assistant Rianne again. So Rianne, go ahead and turn the lights on, turn the key on. And okay, lights are on, so now if I touch the brown, this should light up for tail lights. There it does. Okay, turn the lights off. Now if I touch any other one, nope, turn the lights on again. Tail lights, nothing, nothing. Okay, lights off. Okay, left blinker, turn on the left blinker. All right, so this should be the yellow. There it's blinking, nothing, nothing. Turn on the right blinker. It should be green, yep, there it's blinking. Nothing, nothing. All right, hit the brake. Leave the blinker on, turn the brake on. Brakes on. So brake light, and this should be flashing. Yep. Turn the blinker off. And it's solid, solid, nothing. Okay, we are wired good. Now I can hook this end up to the loose wires here. There were two that we did not use. Of course, the yellow is the reverse. I am not sure what the black and brown one is. We'll tuck those back into the cable protector, get these all soldered together. Next, and then we'll mount this. I'll show you how that looks mounted, and then should be good to go for a final test. Okay, now we got both ends spliced in. Again, these heat shrink things work pretty good. This red is actually a little glue that heats up. In the middle there's a piece of solder. Now we're going to tape this with black tape and then try to shove this back in. We'll retape this shut and get this mounted. Then we'll grab our two-sided tape. And that's going to provide a little bit of vibration protection as well. And we'll run this underneath, so we'll move this hose out of the way for now. And we'll grab the zip ties they provided. Push it up out of the way. Now we'll put the hose back. There's a little hook for it right here. We can see that. And then we can zip tie everything back up there. Alright, we'll give you a close-up of what that looks like. That's the metal clip that the hose runs through. This is where you can zip tie there. This just zip ties, there's a hole in the frame. And there you can see that taillight converter mounted. I got the wires all zip tied in so it can't go nowhere. Everything looks good. We'll put these two bolts back in to secure this, and then we'll do the final step. Alright, everything's tied up nice and clean under here now. We got the zip ties back in holding this. Plug in, zip ties holding this here. This is the converter. When we hook the converter up, there's 4 wires that come out. There's one for the ground. The white wire goes to the green wire on the chassis. The 2 brown wires go together. And then there's the one for the left turn and the right turn. On the Uforce 600, they run a common brake light wire, which is the yellow and green wire. So if we hooked it into the converter, we wouldn't have independent turn signals. So what you have to do when you wire in your converter is you wire the left turn into the orange and the right turn into the blue wire. So there's one issue with that, and I'll show you over here. So as we've seen before, the orange wire runs to nothing over here. And so we have now our current coming from the converter box that essentially goes into nothing. So we need it to go into the tail light. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a spot here, cut this open. We need to connect the orange coming from this side to the green and yellow coming from this side. And what that'll allow us to do is pass the current through for both the brake light and the turn signal. So we'll put those two together, get this soldered. Then we'll have to do the same on the passenger side, where you're going to connect the light blue wire coming from the inside to the green and yellow wire going to the tail light. Okay, that's connected, and we're just going to go ahead and force that back into the protector here. Now that that's all inside, and then we'll take the black tape and we'll tape that again. Okay, this side's all buttoned up, taped up. Now we can go do the same on the passenger side. Now we're on the passenger side, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find where that seam is here. All right, there's the seam. We'll cut this open. And on this side, we're going to pull out the 2 wires that we need. We need this yellow and green that runs this way. So we'll snip this one off. And then we need the light blue one that's running from the middle going out, which is this one right here. So we'll snip that one off. Okay. And everything else can get tucked back in again. Then we're going to go ahead and strip these 2 wires. against it. We're going to slide the heat shrink connector over. And then slide the other one in the other side. So the wires are over the top of each other, then we're going to put that and we're going to line up the solder right over where the two wires connect like that. And we'll take the heat gun, warm that up. It takes a little bit to get that solder in the middle melted. Just keep going over it. There you can see the solder melted down pretty good. We'll let it cool down for a minute. It should be pretty tight. Yep, it's stuck pretty good. Now we can tuck this wire back inside. It's back inside, now we can tape it up. Okay, we got this all taped up. I'm going to shove it back through so it don't hang down. That should be it. Now it's time for our final test. Okay, one final test. Again, we have our assistant Rianne in the seat. Go ahead and turn the key on and turn the lights on. All right, both taillights are working. All right, turn the lights off. Tail lights off. Push the brake. Both brake lights are working. Do left the brake. Left turn signal. Right turn signal. And push the brake. All right, let the brake off. Turn the tail or turn the lights on again. And shifter in reverse, see if that works. And there's the backup lights. Everything's working as it should. We'll go around the front and check out the front. All right, now we'll go through the front check. Keys on. Let's do left blinker. All right, right blinker. Push the brake. All right, turn off the brake. Turn the lights on. Perfect. All right, so we got everything done under the bed and under the hood. Now we're gonna try to finish up inside here. You can see I also have the hazard switch. Let's try to figure out which one is which. The hazard switch actually looks like a flashing light on it. There you go, you can see that's what the hazard wire looks like. So I want to put the hazard switch down here so both the red switches are here and the horn switch will be up here on the dash next to the blinkers. Okay, so after a little bit of horsing around, right down here there's a little plastic clip on both sides, and then under the dash here there was one Phillips screwdriver right here, or Phillips screw. I took that out. I was able to pull the dash out enough to get my hand behind there. This is the hazard. I was able to get the hazard in this slot, move the kill switch over to this slot, and I was able to pull the plug in. This isn't the right one. The plug in for the hazard through and get it plugged in over here. I had enough space to make that work. The only thing you want to make sure you do right here is that metal bracket that holds the shifter. So you want to make sure you run that wire underneath the metal shifter. I have one left. The one left here, that looks like a little, kind of like a little trash can with an X in it. That's actually for the heater if you were going to plug a heater in. All right. Now we can put the dash back together. I took the cup holder off thinking it'd get me access from the top. It does not. This is a tray in here, and this is so small it's hard to even get your hand in there. Thought about taking a Sawzall and just cutting it bigger, but what I ended up doing is actually getting my wife to come over and put her hand in there because it fit. They don't make it big enough for a man's hand, obviously, so I'm just going to put the screws back in here. Okay, so the last one we have left is for the heater. That can just sit in there. Then we slide this back in. Feed the wires back through. These little white clips will have to be on the plastic. Alright, just pop on. Pops on, then you can pop these back in. That's back on, that's back on, that's back on. And I'll put the screw back under there. And then put the two plastic push pins back in. And the dash is all back together. The nice thing about it being factory switches is that they all light up when the dash lights up. They all match, so they look factory. Again, blinkers work, horn works, and flashers work, and the kill switch works. So we're all set to go here. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you like this episode of RecNation, where we installed a couple accessories on the Uforce 600. We got the blinkers in, or turn signals. We got the hazards or flashers and the horn. Again, there's different ways to do it. If you're not keen on cutting your wire harness, you can do it the first way. Just go ahead and hook the jumper wires up in the back, and then you'll have to buy secondary lights for either the blinkers, or if you have the blinker be the reverse light, then you have to get white for the reverse lights. I think the solution we did worked pretty well, but again, there is options for the rear tail lights. Again, I'll post the part numbers for all these in the description of the video, so if you want to do the same thing, you can look at it there. Again, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Found it informational. It was pretty easy. Couple of sticking points, but other than that, it went pretty smoothly. If you like this episode, like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.